back with another episode, man. Bro Bro Bets in the building. Hey, man, it was a good Thanksgiving break. You feel me? A lot of good football, college and NFL. I'll talk a little bit about college since Parlay. You know we don't really talk about college like that. But Michigan beating Ohio State for the third year in a row. Um, fourth and Milrow down there in Roll Tide Road. You feel me? In Auburn and Bo Nix did his thing. Jaden Daniels did his thing. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this Heisman race concludes here this week. Bo Nix and Michael Penix both have the last game to kind of duel it off to see kind of where everybody will kind of end up being in the race. I still think my vote is still Jay Daniels. I think he did just as good as both of them guys, if not better. And if you want to compare him to former Heisman trophies, Johnny Manziel, Lamar Jack, Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, RG3, he did just as good as those guys. 1,100 yards on the ground, 10 plus touchdowns on the ground, 3,800 through the air, 40 touchdowns passing. Come on, bro. What more do you want the guy to do? I know Bo Nix had a little bit better competition. He's in contention for the playoffs, and so is Michael Penix. But at the same time, man, this is the SEC. And so to me, a little bit what I know about the SEC is that they second to none. And so I think that Jada Daniels has a strong case to claim, to make. But, man, before we get started, man, Thanksgiving is a good time to reflect, like I said, and be with family. And just want to shout out to my family. We went through some things this week, losing a loved one in our family, man. RIP to my Aunt Doris. And so I am just sending this with gratitude. Just keep us in your prayers, man. It's been a tough time. Anytime you have something like this happen, you never know how to react. But my main thing is God is good, and He's always good, and He's always on time, and you just got to keep it moving forward. That's my main thing. Keep pushing, keep working hard to the goals. Just getting back home for me was important. Reside where I live at down here in the South. You feel me? South Minnesota. But, just being in my comfort zone, locked in the gym and everything. It's been a good time, man. So I appreciate y'all. We got the boy Parlay on. There you go. Let him say it.
You know what it is. I'm Parlay Hunter. That's
Man, I'm
like
Life with D Green, man. You know what it is, man.
You know what
And
it
you
is.
were watching another Bro Bro Bets episode brought to you by Bro Bro Media in correlations to the business, and the business itself is Bro Bro Media Group. So don't ever get it misunderstood. When you see me in Parlay in a couple years with the big diamond pennants that says BBMG, you will understand what that is. And it's not MMG and it's not BMF. So just know that.
We got more productions on the way.
Got some
Not
shit
sports
cooking.
related.
Got some shit cooking.
So stay tuned. But today, this is Bro Bro Bets. We're talking about football. We're talking about the NFL. We're talking about the biggest storylines and headlines in football. You know what I mean? The things, and we're unfiltered, right? We say what's on our mind. We're not held, to any contract standards of, oh, you can't say this, or we're getting paid by this franchise, so you can't say this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we keep it real. That's our motto. We keep it real.
Man, let's get right to it, Parlay.
Let's do it.
What we got going on today, man?
All right. So we had Thanksgiving weekend. We had some good football. We
some good football.
We saw. We definitely every week we see some things that change our mind a little bit about teams and franchises and coaches. Every week we get a little bit more information about our favorite teams, our favorite coaches, our favorite players, and it changes our mind. Sometimes it solidifies thoughts that we already had in our mind. I've been saying this for a while, where I like it when guys prove me wrong. And, I know this isn't the first thing on the list that we were going to talk about today, but we did just see Josh Dobbs, you know what I mean, come back down to earth a little bit in that Chicago game. You know, you were very high on Dobbs. I'd like to just really quickly, before we get into the script of today's show, I'd like to hear your initial thoughts on that game in Chicago for Josh Dobbs, his future in Minnesota, because Kirk Cousins is coming back. He had a couple of turnovers in that last game. And you know,
four. Yeah, 4 picks.
Yeah,
That's rare. That is rare.
right.
But
How do
yeah,
you feel?
you can't win a football game. I don't like you throwing me under the bus there. Talking about just as if you weren't high on Astro Boy when they got him from the Cardinals. But
No,
anyways,
I wasn't.
I
I
respect.
wasn't. I was low on him, and then I changed my mind. At first, I said he don't got it, and then he had a
That
couple weeks. Pause.
pause everything. Just
All
pause
right,
everything.
but I'm just saying, you know, a few weeks. No, at first I said he don't got it, and then he, you know, he showed that he had it, and then now he comes back down to earth
Pause.
a little bit.
What did he have? What are
Hey,
you
bro,
on?
no,
Cam,
I can.
call up Cam. But no, I think that how I seen it, like he played a bad game. I'll give you that, but he I knew he would have one of these games. I'm not really surprised. Yes, was I very excited of how the Vikings were playing and the energy of having a new quarterback and things like that. Yeah, but I knew that he would have to have a couple games like this. I didn't think it would be the Bears. That's the only thing. Like I seen a game like this coming. I just didn't think it would be the Bears. But for me too, it's like why with the Bears? Because it's like you're not even fighting for nothing. You really are playing. It was like a real evil role for the Bears to do that last night because like the Vikings are end up going to the playoffs regardless. You guys are not, but you're playing hard in the middle of the season, like as if you have a chance to get to the playoffs when you're supposed to be playing for Caleb Williams. But anyways, I see Drake May is the one that they're taking in a lot of mock drafts anyway. But
But
that
we can't.
that would be goofy. That would be goofy if they did that again. But
Yeah. No, but we can't say that the Vikings are for sure going to the playoffs.
no, we can't. But I think that we can, from a horizon of look of all the NFC teams, Vikings are sitting pretty well. They have a great defense. I will say that. I really do like Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator. He brings a different level of physicality to their
Yeah.
football team, as far as the defense blitzing, a lot of
Yeah.
different type of
Man.
blitzes, and they get home far as the sacks, and their DBs are even pretty good. So I think that the Vikings will be fine. Josh Dobbs needed that. The good thing too with them is why I'm saying they're going to be on a bye week this next week. Justin Jefferson comes back right after that. He gets back involved. That frees up Jordan Addison a little bit. TJ Hawkinson doesn't have to take a beating. Pause like he has been taking. He's been leading them in receiving, but he has to do everything from the receiving standpoint. I was very had high hopes for KJ Osborne. I don't know where he has been. He seems to be flurrying down into a third receiver role now again, and so it's like okay, but I think Josh Dobbs will be fine. I think that he just needs to understand that he doesn't need to make every big play, but as well, he needs to run the ball too. Like he sits in the pocket too long. It's not like the Vikings O line is like the fucking Jets or some shit like that. They're decently okay, and he needs to be able to be more efficient. And I know KOC will definitely talk to him, Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, because that's just the type of ball he plays with Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying he needs to be a pocket presence quarterback like Kirk Cousins. He obviously can run the ball, use his legs, but he needs to be able to can't win games with 4 interceptions. So you're right. If he continues to do that, even with Jefferson back, they don't make the playoffs. But I think with Jefferson back and who Jefferson is, even if Jefferson doesn't have those type of games that we expect, he's gonna help by just distracting and window disguising a lot of things, and it's gonna open up the deep bomb for Jordan Addison. It's gonna open up things for T.J. Hawkinson.
Oh
Run
yeah.
games gonna be even a lot better. And to be honest, Alexander Madison has been playing pretty good from what I've been watching. So I was less surprised by Josh Dobbs and more surprised by Justin Fields. Now I want to reverse the question because I was trying to hold on for dear life, like this last strand of hair on the beard. But I think it's time for Justin Fields to go. I just can't see him with the Bears after this year, bro. Even we knew that they were going to probably get a quarterback, but now it's like I think he fucked up his draft stock. I mean, his potential stock to play on another team in a free agent or even in a trade.
Yeah. I think. Well, real quick about the Vikings. Look, I want to be wrong about Josh Dobbs, but some of the interceptions were bad throws.
I
That
don't, bro. I'll say 3 out of the 4 picks were not on him. There was 2 tip pass pause. There was two interceptions that were just deflected by a defender.
that
That's not on him.
safety. That safety, I believe his name is Jalen Daniels for the Bears. He was all over the place.
Yeah, he was. Jalen Brewster, that one on the sideline, that was a bad pass by Josh Dobbs. But there was a couple where the Vikings receivers got to make a play, bro.
Well, I hope I'm wrong. About Dobbs and about Chicago. I think that Justin Fields. I don't know. I think that there's gonna be I agree with you. I think that he needs a different. He needs a whole reboot. But he also needs a good coach. He needs a coach like Sean Payton. He needs an experienced Bill Belichick. He needs an experienced coach, Mike Tomlin, somebody that's going to inflict wisdom on him so that he can. I feel like he needs to be a little bit maybe. I don't want to talk about characteristics because we're not in the locker room, so we don't really know. But I feel like if he had that, and any quarterback has that, they make a big step. But because he's at that part of his career where he's not going to be young next year. Next year he's going to be a little bit older. He's not going to be a young quarterback anymore, and the clock is ticking. And if eventually it gets to a point where you're forgotten and new blood comes in and they're younger and they have rookie contracts and you become forgotten about. So yeah, I think he needs a different thing, a different atmosphere, a different team. Yeah. But let's get back. Let's get to the show. Let's do the script. First thing that we got to talk about is the Lions taking an L to the Packers, a big L. They were a -8 favorite, and the Packers whooped that butt. And I'm thinking Jordan Love, he looks pretty good now. I was, talking a lot of trash 2 weeks ago, and now Jordan Love is having games not throwing interceptions late in the game, which was when my biggest problem with him was that he was blowing it in the fourth quarter. Now, pause. But he, so he was his, that one was crazy. Yeah. So the Lions, though, let's talk about the Lions because I really liked them in the Super Bowl, and I really liked them being in the Super Bowl. We got to hit an instant replay on that.
Oh man,
he's blowing it in the fourth quarter. All right, no. All right, so the Lions.
Yes, the Lions, bro.
The Lions. Super Bowl. What do you think? Because a game like that makes you go, I don't want to see them in the Super Bowl.
You're the one that's saying they're in the Super Bowl.
I know, but I'm not. Come on, I'm not the only one who thought.
No, you are the only one that thought the Lions were going to the Super Bowl.
Okay, not. There's a lot of people in Detroit.
Don't try to hint that I said anything like that.
No. You did not say anything. You never said it.
I said this team could be maybe in the Super Bowl.
Of course, always.
Yeah,
but
they always
to you always. But if Detroit, come on, they're a good team in the playoffs. What does that tell you though about them? Does it matter? Does it even matter?
I think it was a big loss. I will say that because the way it happened. I think Detroit came out very lackadaisical. They had fought hard to beat the Bears the week before, so I kind of expect them to be a little sluggish, but not like that. Like it's Thanksgiving Day. We're finally watching the Lions, and they're good on Thanksgiving. Traditionally, they're always usually 2-3 win team on Thanksgiving, so now it's exciting to watch. But the Packers, man, I got to give a little bit more credit to the Packers. I don't think it's that the Lions just lost a big game. Yeah, they just played sluggish, and they can't do that in the playoffs. So to leave the point on the side of the Lions is they can't expect to go far in the playoffs by always having to start slowing the game and not run the ball good because they didn't run the ball good this game and not get Amon-Ra St. Brown involved. He's their best passing weapon to the second half. He had like 7, 8 receptions in the second half, only had 2 in the first half. So doing goofy shit, bro. Like I'm watching the game now and every week, bro, every week more, I watch more and more NFL, bro. And for me, I'm just looking at like how coaches are scheming games up. What is the game plan? What kind of try to just simulate what's going through their mind in the sense of like what are they thinking? And the Packers just came out on fire, bro. Shout out to Jordan Love, played one of his better games, bro. I'm trying to get the stats up. Sorry, I was watching. I'm
The
paying
stats are
attention because
great. The
they got the
stats,
Heisman coming. Oh, Nix is on there, but yeah,
the
Jordan
stats are
Love was
great.
22 for 32. He was 268 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. So he played a heck of a game. They don't have a run game, and they won't because Aaron Jones is going for the rest of the year. A.J. Dillon seems not to be that guy that I thought. He's way more of a better feature back, but Christian Watson played good. Romeo Dobbs didn't play as good as he normally would, had that many catches, but Jordan Love played good, and Jared Goff played good, 29 for 44, 2 tubs, but that's in a comeback mode. So I just think the Lions have to start fast like they normally do. They have to play as if they're trying to put up 100 points because I will say one good thing about the Lions instead of saying putting them in the Super Bowl, I will say they do have a top 5 offense in the whole NFL and led by Jared Goff, who's an underrated quarterback. And he doesn't get a lot of praise as he should compared to a lot of the other guys and a couple of guys we'll talk about a little bit later. But I just think this is more so Green Bay knew where they were in the standings, and Green Bay knows where they are now. And the Vikings, yeah, you're right. They keep fucking around. They will find their way on the outside looking in the playoffs. And the Packers are right there, bro. They have one more game. They got to come to Minnesota to play. But who cares? That's better for Jordan Love. It seems to me that he plays better in warmer weather. He plays better in the dome. So I think that is to his favor. But Vikings better watch out because Green Bay is starting to play better. And if they can get healthy on defense and their offense can play like this in the playoff, nobody wants to travel to Lambeau in the fucking winter. That's real. So I'll say that from the standpoint of if Green Bay gets a higher seed in the wild card, at least they'll have a better chance to win the first round than the Vikings do. So that's why I think it's going to get important because we know for sure that it's going to be one team out of NFC South based off division because that fucking division is trash. Then NFC West is just looking like it's going to be San Francisco. I don't know where Seattle will be. It'll be interesting to see how Seattle looks this week. I sneaky want to take them plus the points versus the Cowboys because they are in dire needs of a win right now. And other than that, NFC East is looking like it's gonna be the Cowboys and the Eagles. So yeah, I just think more so we got to give credit to Green Bay in the win.
I completely agree with you. This is Jordan Love's first full year, so that being right, or this is his first full year, and the growing pains. You got to go through those early growing pains, and maybe that's what we were seeing. And now he's getting, and I do think it's important for them to be in the lead in the fourth quarter right now to win and close out games. I mean, you put him back in those situations where he's trying to win the game at the end of the fourth quarter. I don't know if he's going to make the same mistakes, but really good for them. And honestly, when I was looking at this team in the beginning of the year, it was you're going to have to run the ball with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, and their defense is going to have to hold. I think this is what a lot of people were thinking was that the defense was going to be one of the best. And the defensive backfield is still really solid, but they're not that good on defense as we thought they would be. But they're still pretty solid in the back and the pause. And then the AJ Dillon and obviously we have had Aaron Jones has been injured so much that he's been a non-factor, of all year, and you don't really know if he's going to be because we're getting to the end of the season, and if you weren't a factor all year, like you can't, it's it's kind of a wash. Maybe if they do go to the playoffs, though, he'll be a factor and he'll be used. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It's really good on Green Bay and just makes that division a lot tougher. I mean that NFC North is looking like a really tough division besides Chicago right now at this point. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to take a step back on the Lions, but they played a pretty solid game.
No,
And
you gotta own that. You gotta own that. That's your NFC division, the conference champions right there.
well, I mean, bro, I change it up every week, like every couple of weeks, basically. I
Hey,
mean,
Stephen
I
A.
said
That's what I'm saying. You just be
I
saying
said
just blasphemy.
no. If I really had to pick a team out of the NFC, I'd take Philadelphia.
Yeah, the Eagles.
Um,
Eagles look better than they did last year. I will not lie, and we'll get to that point soon. But
yeah, no.
yeah,
What's okay? We'll move on to the next topic here. Um, let's see, what do we got here? Let me get back to the script. We got Dolphins and Jets. So we'll talk about two things here. We'll talk about the Dolphins. We'll talk about the Jets. First things first. I want to ask you about the Jets. Um, at the beginning of the year, I had a problem with Zach Wilson. Then I had a problem with Nathaniel Hackett. Now I got a problem with Robert Saleh, and those three guys, I think need to go, which would really make for a completely different team. But yeah, I'm very, I just don't feel like Saleh is confident in his team. I feel like he's confident in his defense. I feel like he's thrown his offense under the bus lately, which is not really what he was doing at the beginning of the year. I don't really like Saleh as a head coach right now. I just don't think he's got it. I think there needs to be a change in the regime of all those three things right now, and also the uh, with Aaron Rodgers. There's really no reason, there's no point to come back right now, especially if they lose another game. So, uh, what are your thoughts on the Jets right now with Saleh and Hackett and the GM and the franchise?
just looking at the standings, and obviously, first thing I'm thinking about is Aaron Rodgers coming back. I just don't think there's a necessary reason for him to do that now. They're 15th in the AFC, meaning they're second to last, and it's a tall hill to climb for them. And I just don't think that is necessary this year. I think A Rod comes back healthy next year and stays healthy, and I think they have a good team. And I want to see him at least play a season in New York because I just think for the market, for the fans, for football, is what we want. But um, no, I think they're done. I think you're right. They need to part ways with all three of those guys you said. I won't disagree with you there. I think find Zach Wilson a home or don't. I mean, I think at this point he probably on his rookie deal last year, so they probably won't pick his contract up, but he will get picked up to be somebody's backup quarterback. I just know that
Mhm.
because he is decent in the sense of like he can. There's flashes, like I said, and I don't want to excuse me put all the wrongdoing on the kid because it's not all his fault. They didn't have no good O line. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers was hurt. Weapons are there, but it's like you can't do nothing with O line. But then too, he just didn't know how to make plays around that. So I think you get rid of him. Nathaniel Hackett's probably not going nowhere because that's Aaron Rodgers' guy, and so I don't see that happen. And that to me pretty means that Salah probably won't be there. And you know what? Knowing the Jets owner, he'll probably even give Salah a mulligan for that. You got to. You have to. I know you New Yorkers get it very upset quickly, and you guys don't want to, you know, give people chances, but you got to. His excuse is no Aaron Rodgers, bro. What can you say?
Well, no, I think that there's also a lot to blame on his coaching. I think that you also have Brees Hall. You have not used Brees Hall the way that he should. I mean, he could be a really really good running back. He has not been used properly. The O line, the O line play. I there's got to be a lot of blame on Hackett, but also on the head coach for not putting the team in the right place in the right position to succeed. And I just don't feel like he has Not saying it's not an effort thing. It's just you're not good enough type of thing, and I just don't see him being good enough right now to be a head coach for the
Well,
Jets or for any team.
I'm just saying, bro, they're gonna give him the chance with Aaron Rodgers, and this is my thing. It's like, what do we say? Just hypothetically, if they just turn things around 360, 180,
Won't be wrong.
when Aaron Rodgers get back, like
Yeah, yeah. We'll
that's what I.
see. Yeah, no, we'll see. I think that I'm just saying what I think needs to happen, and at this point in time, New Yorkers rally around success and hype,
New
and
Yorkers.
last year Mike White really showed a lot of just he sparked an offense, right? And you don't let that flame die out, and that's what the organization is doing, is they get a spark and then they let it die out. Right now the Giants have to figure out with Tommy DeVito. At the end of the day, with Daniel, I mean, just to really quickly shift over to the Giants, another New York team, I think that the O line is the worst I have seen in a very long time. I mean, in the NFL in years. That O line is giving up 7 sacks a game to anybody who's ever hiking the ball back there. So I think that with Daniel Jones, with Daniel Jones having the injuries, he's got a neck injury, he had a leg injury, and these are really serious injuries, and he's damaged goods, and it sucks. But that is the league. That is the NFL. That's the reality of things. And if Tommy DeVito is fresh legs, he's still taking 7 sacks a game, but he's not afraid to throw the ball up to Jalen Hyatt on one-on-one coverage and get a win. So it's like at the end of the day, that's a factor in the NFL that we lose sight of a lot, is the injuries and how they change somebody and somebody's ability to play the game and think and process quickly. And now let's move over and just transition over to a quarterback who is thinking quickly, who does think very quickly, who's maybe one of the smartest quarterbacks in the league right now, Tua, for the Miami Dolphins, and how he's playing and how he's playing with the Fins right now. What are your thoughts on Tua?
I think Tua's playing good. I think the Finns are playing good. They're a team that's gonna be there. I said I said they will be dangerous. If the playoffs started today, they would have to play my Pittsburgh Steelers. So that does kind of make me a little nervous. Not terribly nervous. I ain't never scared. I ain't never ran from nobody, man. But um, they are good. Their defense is getting better. Jalen Ramsey coming back with Xavier Howard. Their D line is a no name D line, but they got some players out there. Bradley Chubb, Christian Wilkins, the other cat. I think he's injured though. The other rusher from Miami, from Miami Hurricanes and UCLA. I forgot his name, but they're good. David Long at linebacker, they're good. But Tua's playing good. I mean, it is what is expected. Now they have a genius at head coach who's a former offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel, who, by the way, is kind of one of the more swaggiest coaches in the league. Wearing the off-white shoes in the
Yeah,
MetLife Stadium, with the gold watch and everything. Bill Belichick wouldn't do anything like that. But yeah, I don't have much to say because it's not that is because Miami is just like right now Miami is coasting. They're kind of they got that like Detroit feeling to them of a couple weeks ago. Like they're good. Like right now, there's not really for me to say much on Miami as they're just a solid team. They play good and the playoffs is going to be interesting though because it's like when we think about football and then we think in that terms, it's like Miami Dolphins making some noise in the playoffs, even with a Tyreek Hill. So, like I said, bro, it's gonna be interesting because I think if Miami can, their defense to me won't fold this year because they have a Jalen Ramsey, but they gotta play at home because they need warm weather too. And two, they gotta be able to run the ball good when it gets to the weather climates and when it gets to the playoffs because teams will isolate them in a sense of double bracketing Tyreek Hill, and we've seen him when the Chiefs played against him. So teams will take that formula, take that film, and do what they need to do. But Jalen Waddle hasn't been there this year. I don't know where he is. Not a terrible season, a couple injury, couple weeks being injured, but he's not been the same guy. Last year they were neck and neck for number one, number three receiver in the league. Jalen Waddle had 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. Tyreek Hill had like 1,400 yards, like 15 plus touchdowns. So I'm not seeing that type of scarce from them. You get what I'm saying? From the passing offense when it comes to when the time matters. What Tua's doing right now is cool. But at the same time, Tua's not he's less of a runner than Tommy DeVito. He's not going to always run. Tua's still thinking about last year, bro. And so he was concussed and things like that. And so it's gonna be interesting. That's my thing. I just want to put if we could just write a note, I just want to put a red little dot or question mark by the Dolphins and then just say in parentheses playoffs. I want to see what things look like when we get to play because we know they're gonna win their division. They're 8-3 right now. The Buffalo might not even make it according to this AFC lookout right now. And so my thing is this: Miami won't. They'll get a home field advantage for the first one, but then say they beat us, then they got to go to Baltimore. That's an evenly matched game, and the reason why I like Baltimore a little bit better because I think their defense is a little bit better, and I trust Lamar Jackson a little bit better. I do. And Lamar
Yeah,
can
that defense is arguably the best in the league in Baltimore. They're just they can shut down, a lot of good receivers. So Waddle will have to step up if that is the matchup that they have. I think that Waddle has, it's hard to stand out when there's a guy like Tyreek Hill, having doing so well. And I agree with you. He could stand out a little bit more. He dealt with some injuries middle early of the season, and they'll have to rely on him when it matters. I don't know if the team, I think that the team looks when Achan is fully healthy and they have that guy, as another playmaker in the field without all their other playmakers. Mostart, he's amazing. I mean, for an older running back, on the second leg of his career, and he's probably going to be end the year with the stats being top 5 running backs as far as rushing yards go. So I mean, they have a fantastic run game, which is certainly helping Tua. But I don't want to take anything away from Tua because the way he's being very smart, he's throwing balls away really fast before they turn into interceptions like that or anything. And then for the defense, with Jalen Ramsey playing the way that he's playing, unfortunately they did get a big blow to one of their pass rushers is out for the season now. But they have guys who will step in and step up, and they're not. They're 8-3. They're not 8-3 for nothing. So it's like I just believe that with Tua in the confidence that now he probably has in his ability, really taking a step forward where next year, depending on how deep of a run they go in the playoffs. And I like that you want to put a postage, a little red dot and a postage on the Dolphins for their playoff run this year, because it will be something that we're going to watch. And depending on how far they go, now, if they're one and done, all this stuff that we're saying isn't going to matter. But if they win a couple of those playoff games and take it pretty far, we're going to be talking about Tua, top 5 quarterbacks in the league. People are going to be saying stuff like that because it's really about winning. And who's going to take a step back is the guy in his division, Josh Allen, who's been blowing it, who I was saying is having MVP type of season. But yeah, he's blowing it hard. Pause.
crazy because
I had to throw that in there because I saw your face
up too. Like that's crazy. or Mace get a hold of this, man. They're gonna fucking cancel our show, bro. No, I agree with you, man. I just feel like Miami's gonna be one of those teams in the playoffs, and like I said, I just want to see how they play as a team, offense, defense, and special teams in the playoffs, man. I think it's an important factor that they got Tyreek Hill because we see a lot of times too in the playoffs that special teams become a factor, and having him back on a kick return or a punt return can change the game if they choose to. I'm not saying that they do right now, but shoot, I'd have him or Waddle back there for sure. That can change the game because the game in playoffs is field position, play the defense, run the ball well, take your chances on offense. But if your chances don't happen, you got to create offense somewhere else. So it has to be special teams. So My thing is they have to find a way to continue to get creative with Tyreek Hill. And it's funny because if we can remember in the beginning of the year, Tyreek Hill did an interview either on his podcast or with NFL or somebody, and he said, "Bro, I can see it already. Like you could tell he's a veteran now because he reminds me a little bit of AB, but he works different. And it's like I want to get back to the quote. You know, he was like, once he's done with the Dolphins, he's done with the NFL, bro. He's retiring. So I remember when he said that, and so you're seeing one of one ever. Like I respect Tyreek Hill to see like, yeah, he's that guy. Teams are afraid of him. He's that fast. He's that big of a playmaker. So if Miami doesn't get him involved in the game plan, which I know they won't, because that's a good thing that I have been liking about Mike McDaniel. He is not a goofy. Like it's not rocket science. Some coaches, some teams try to play reverse psychology not to get their guy involved early in the game because they know teams are gonna know. You still have to take chances. You still got to throw the ball downfield. You still got to get shallow routes, a screenplay, something, man, because he's your best player. So
Yeah.
if for the
Yeah.
Dolphins to be successful in the playoffs, Tyreek Hill is going to have to have a couple big games. That's just the same thing as saying Travis Kelce. So let's move on to the next point.
All right. All right. I know you're excited to talk about this. Steelers offense back. Let's get an analysis from a super fan, from a hardcore Steelers fan. Let's get a little analysis on the new offensive scheme. Right. Oh yeah, we know. We know. Here we go.
Yeah, you know what it is.
We know what it is.
Come on, man. You know what it is, man. Kenny Pickett this week. Let's see. Let's go to the box scores. Let's see what they talking about. Kenny Pickett, 24, 33, 278 yards. This is probably one of Kenny Pickett's best games of his career. No touchdowns, 2 sacks, 15 rushes, 99 yards in the tub for Najee. 13 rushes, 49 yards from Jalen Warren, who we better resign. That guy is a fucking dog. Let me see what round he was in. I don't even think he was drafted. I don't even think he was drafted. I think he was an undrafted free agent. That is crazy. Where we got this cat, I don't know, but this cat is the dog, bro. Yeah. I don't know, man. We've been back. I don't want to say, oh, is our offense back? Pat Fryer moved back off of injury. Yeah, 9 for 120, GP 3 for 58, DJ 4 for 50. I'll talk a little bit about DJ. I don't like his fucking diva acts that he be pulling on the field, not trying to
Not
go for
blocking.
not blocking or not trying to dive on the ground to get the fumble. Like, dude, you're acting very lame. Like that shows like I've been like like he's a good possession receiver. He can get open, create some separation. Is he going to burn past somebody? No. Is he gonna catch a post for 50? No. We know George Pickens is the guy for that, or even Calvin Austin. But DJ's a good player. He needs to get his act right, or we're gonna have to get him up out of there. But I think, man, more or less on any of the players, I give the big salute to the coach. Tomlin did what they had in Canada, and I don't want to be like a Cam Hayward said. I don't want to be, a Debbie Downer and be like, hey, firing people is cool, but he had to go. So I do feel bad the man doesn't got a job, but hey, it is what it is. But the two guys, the running back coach, and I don't know who the other guy is, whether he's the receiver or O-line coach, they did a hell of a play call. It's all about our play calling. It's not even about the yards that you see or the stats. It's all about watching it from the playmaking perspective and the scheme of the thing. Throwing the ball downfield. Like there was so many times I was like, okay, bet finally a 40-yard bomb. Even if we don't catch it, boom, throw it downfield, throw it here. Not none of this screen here, screen there. Like finally watch a Pittsburgh game and feel like a Steeler fan. So for me, yes, I'm excited because, like I said, and I'm gonna say this because I didn't want to say this about the Dolphins. Two teams that I would be afraid of in the AFC coming out of AFC in the playoffs. We are one, and the other is the Denver Broncos. So, and I'll talk about them later. But
Yeah.
we're clicking at the right time. We got the next three games: Cardinals, the Patriots, the Colts. Must wins, and we must show out offensively. Defense still showing up. Defense is phenomenal. Pat P, this cat number 17, Trent Thompson. I don't know where we got this guy from. He's playing phenomenal at Nickelback, bro. Out of San Diego State. First year guy. This dude is balling. I like this dude, number 17. We're playing good. TJ Watt does what he does. 2 sacks, tackle for a loss. Come on, man. We're playing good defensively. We're gonna defense is all. I don't even worry about defense because I know we're gonna always keep our offense in the game, whether we get a couple turnovers or whether we just shut down a team offensively. But we got to take care of these next 3 games, and we got to send a statement offensively versus teams that are below 500. We have to. The Cardinals, no offense. I love my brother Nicky Rallis. We got to put 31 up on these, 31 plus. We have to. I mean, the Rams just beat them 38-17, and we beat the Rams. So we got to, and we're at home too. So we win these next 3 games decisively, like very like maliciously, like get back to some Steeler football. I think we'll be in contentions for the division title. I mean, we beat the Ravens, so that game is going to come down to that last game. Now, this is what's going to matter. Do we sit? Does both teams sit their starters, or do they play for the division? It could come down to that. That's week 17. It could come down to that. And if it does, and we do sit both of our starters, I think we got a good chance. In that situation, I trust Trubisky to win a game for us. I trust Jalen Warren to run the ball. I trust, our receivers to make plays. And then if they sit some of their defensive players as well, I think our defensive guys are built for this. JPJ has played all year. We have had more rookies play than the Ravens have. So we got a very young team, bro. Our future is bright. I'm not giving up on Kenny yet. I'm not saying I'm sold forever, but I think we're right where we need to be.
Yeah, I thought, man, just to see like your playmakers, because like on paper you have playmakers that have not been used this year at all. Pat Fryermuth was one of them. Najee Harris, was another one of them. And I mean, I think that is something that Mike Tomlin really wanted to do, was to get their playmakers, the guys who, I mean, we talk about this all the time. Common sense is going to be the death of a lot of head coaching or coaching careers in the NFL. And it's been that way, where common sense is give your best playmaker the ball. And a lot of times they don't do that. So, I think that was really cool to see that, we saw some guys get more involved. And again, like, although Deontay Johnson's antics of his, it seems like he's got some bad personality issues on the field right now, and he's not getting it together. Once he does, that he's, he's a really good ball player. I mean, he is the diva mindset of these wide receivers is, it runs deep. But I think that he's a great playmaker, and he needs to be good so that George Pickens can be really good as well, and they can take some off of him. So yeah, no, it's really really cool to see that with Pittsburgh. And yeah, I mean, that's Pittsburgh football. They're really quiet, and then at the end of the year, like, they're in the playoffs, and you're like, how did they even get here? So yeah, I think we can just
7-4. I feel bad for the Bengals, man. They won't make the playoffs.
Well, yeah, but no Joe Burrow. Who wants to see them? When we got.
Yeah, but but look where they've been. That's why I was trying to tell you guys, these guys. And then, no offense, yeah, he's hurt, but at the same time, they still. You can't, like, we haven't had. This is what I'm saying. Coaching. I'm trying to get on the point of coaching. You can't let a season deflate just because your best player is gone. That's just real. You have to try your best to win, and I just don't think that there's no effort. Now you go into problems. I do want to flip the script real quick and talk about them a little bit. You go in there. I don't think they'll get T. Higgins re-signed. I just think there's too much money to go around. You eventually got to get Jamar Chase re-signed. Like, he's gonna go. Do you re-sign Joe Mixon? Like, this is now kind of, where those teams are good for 3 years. Now they get to this point, and it's like a rebuild once again, like a mini rebuild, where it's like, all right, Joe Burrow's got to start from scratch. He's got to get him fully healthy. He's got a contract. He's got to play healthy going into the spring, and then we got to draft good, and we got to try to replace T. Higgins, because now that puts more pressure back on Jamar Chase to be a number one, and you don't want to take any more injuries the rest of this year. And so you got to find a way to salvage this rest of the season. But enough about that. Here we go. You know what it is. Here we go.
Yeah. So next we'll talk about the Eagles and the Bills.
Woo!
Yeah,
Eagles fly.
that was a great
Fly,
game.
fly.
Went to overtime. Yeah, laying a beat down over there.
I said a fly, Eagles fly.
Hey, yeah.
A fly, Eagles fly.
Hey.
A fly, Eagles fly.
Caw, caw,
All right, we're done.
caw,
We're
caw.
done.
Okay. Yeah, Eagles beat the Bills in OT. That was a great game. But we gotta talk about it. The Bills dust. Like, I mean, it's a little too late, too little too late near the end of the year if your defense is gonna come around. But Josh Allen is making big mistakes, throwing interceptions at really bad times. It almost seems like he's trying to overcompensate for a lackluster offense, but I also don't really like the play calling. You got a really good ball player in James Cook who just had back-to-back 100-yard games in the last 2 weeks. And then in this game, you barely feed him the rock at all. You bring in some other Latavius Murray gets some touches, some other guy gets some touches. I'm just wondering, like, it seems like there's an issue with the offensive play calling in Buffalo right now. But right now, as we get towards the end of the season, should we count the Bills out? Is what I really want to ask you before we talk about Philadelphia. Should we count the Bills out? Are they basically a non-factor? Even if they do make it, are they making it past the first round?
I don't know because it's tricky, bro. Because just like Cincinnati, they have been good in recent history. It's been them, the Chiefs, and the Bengals. Those been the three teams that we always consistently have been talking about to be the AFC front runner. But to me, the reason why I still have a chance with them because Josh Allen has that it factor to change it around. We have seen it. And so for me, if they can find a way to just get in, because that's what it's going to be at this point now, because they won't win the division, too many games lost. I don't see Miami losing that many more games. They'll have to be on the road. Um, that is tough to be a road warrior in their situation where they haven't played good at all. The Buffalo fandom, Bills Mafia has been a big support for them in their success, but I'm not ruling them out. According to the standings right now, I mean, they're on the outside looking in. Gabe Davis had his best game of the year. Finally, I mean, I don't know where the fuck he was at, but
He's
dog,
so
like,
inconsistent, though.
look, they've had a gauntlet of a schedule. If you think about this, if Joe Burrow was healthy, and they lost to Joe Burrow. That was the last game Joe Burrow played, I think. And Joe Burrow, they lost to Joe Burrow. But from starting from that point, it was Joe Burrow, the Broncos. Say Aaron Rodgers had played, might have been a different result last week versus the Jets. Didn't lose to the Eagles. They got to play the Chiefs, and then they got to go play the Cowboys, bro.
Mhm.
This is tough. I think that I don't think they're going to beat the Chiefs. I think they have a chance to beat the Cowboys at home. I do like that matchup. Dang, I wish we could have seen Trayvon Diggs versus Stephon Diggs. That would have been lit. Um, but I don't think that they beat the Chiefs. I just don't think on both sides that they have enough right now. And the Chiefs, without Travis Kelsey, is still trying to find it. I, however, did pick up though Rashid Rice. I picked him up in fantasy, and he's starting to emerge a little bit more and
Oh
more
yeah.
every week. They're giving him more targets, and so
Well, he's like, they don't really give Mahomes a lot of weapons besides Kelsey. I mean, MVS and Kadarius Tony, those guys aren't really that good. I mean, the hype is not real with them.
yeah,
Pacheco's a really good ball player. He's a running back. He's not a pass catcher. He's a running back. And so really it almost seems like besides Kelsey, Rashid Rice is the best receiver. He's a rookie. I mean, you can't expect a lot. But I mean, the defense for the Chiefs, we weren't going to talk about the Chiefs, but since we're talking about them, I just think that defense is really they're a different team without Eric Bieniemy there anymore. So, that now I think that team is really, really good defense. They got McDuffie over there playing cornerback, and he's emerged as a really good corner. And Chris Jones and Frank Clark and Bo and they got a great defense. Really, really, really good
I,
defense, overshadowed by Mahomes, the best quarterback.
yeah. I just think these next two games are the Bill season. Really, I mean, the last three are at the Chargers, Patriots at home, and at
Mm-hmm.
Dolphins. And by then, that Dolphins game probably won't matter to the Dolphins. They'll probably win just because they'll rest Tua and sit all the starters, but it won't matter anyway because by then it's gonna be over. So it's like their season is right here, bro. Like if they don't win these next two games, I don't think they get in. I don't think you can win. You can't win one and not win the other because if you lose, you'll have 7 losses. I don't see any team with 7 losses getting in the AFC. The AFC is loaded. Pause. The AFC is very, very. I can't even say one word. I'm trying to, not trying to catch myself like parlay over here, but AFC pause. AFC pause is deep. It is deep. You have you have first of all the Bills are 10th right now in the AFC, and in front of them you have the Baltimore, Kansas City, Jacksonville, Miami, Steelers, Cleveland, Colts, and Houston and Broncos. I think the Broncos are definitely they're getting in there. The Browns, I think the Browns are gonna go backwards, and I don't. It's gonna be Houston over the Colts. So they got a slight chance, man, but I don't know. I don't know. And then just look at that. Imagine the playoffs without the Bills and the Cincinnati in there. Like that's crazy.
Different look for sure. Real quick about the Eagles, all I got to say is, they're to me the best team in the NFL. They control the rock better than anybody, and they can take as much time off of the board against mediocre teams as they want. But when they do have to play, when the game's on the line, Jalen Hurts is almost better when the game is on the line this year. But I don't really think Jalen Hurts is I believe he's the MVP favorite, but to me, that's not what I see. Personally, I think that he's made some mistakes where he turns the ball over one or two times a game, and I just don't feel like I feel like he has a few turnovers a game or one turnover a game that really could be avoided. And I don't really see it really being on him. I see it being on the O line first and foremost, and then AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and DeAndre Swift with behind that O line. I just feel like those guys really just make that offense electrifying. With on top of it is an amazing defense. So they are, I believe, the best team in the NFL. What do you think about the Philadelphia Eagles right now?
I mean, Philly is the best team in the NFL. I mean, if you look at the span of teams that they have played and beat, they've beaten every good team. Dolphins. They beat the Vikings early on. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bills now, and they play the 49ers at home on Sunday. This will be the NFC Championship of last year reincarnated. A healthy Brock Purdy, all of their players, all of the Eagles' new players. So this is going to be interesting. I'm definitely going to be watching this game at 3:30, bro. This is a game to watch. I am
Yeah.
definitely glued to the TV watching like this is I want to see how good the 49ers are, and then I want to see how battle tested again the Eagles, because they will be battle tested. There will be moments that it looks like the 49ers pretty much will win this game, probably. But then again, we'll see how great Jalen Hurts is. And it more or less, to me, in this situation, Nick Sirianni is a good coach, but he's not a great coach. I think he has great coordinators, and I think he understands what makes him great is that he knows he has to rely on his great players. He's not a goofy. If they got to do the tush push 15 times to win a game, they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
If Jalen Hurts got to run the ball 12 times a game, they're going to do it. If they got to get A.J. Brown the ball, see, he's not a stupid coach. And it's not that, okay, they're playing concepts and their schemes is gadget plays like the 49ers or gadget plays like the Dolphins. But no, they know they got to get the ball to their playmakers or offense. And Devontae Smith has been balling lately. He's emerging. He's his confidence in him playing good is going to only help them because obviously AJ Brown hasn't had a couple of games of, importance in these last 2 games. So I think that he's due for a big game this week. I think he gets in the end zone versus the 49ers DBs. I don't think the 49ers DBs, that's the one thing I did tell Reese when I seen Reese. I don't think their DBs are like we think like these people think they are. And Tufa Hefalonga, whatever his name is, he's out for the year with an ACL. So that is going to hurt them. Because yeah, you may have a good rookie, Reese, but rookies tend to find and slip up in the playoffs, and I think that's where they're gonna meet. Rubber's gonna meet the road. So this is gonna be an interesting game. So then they got the 49ers. Then they got to go to the Cowboys on the Sunday night. Like, bro, that's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. So before we do our rapid fire picks, let's just, as long as this guy keeps winning, let's just get a little let Russ cook segment going on
Oh
Bro
man.
Bro Bet.
Oh man.
Because that guy, he don't get love from ESPN. He don't get
No.
love from FanDuel.
No.
He don't get
No.
love from CBS. He don't
And I
get
mean,
love from Twitter. He don't get love from nobody but Sierra. So let's just have a little let Russ cook session right
hey,
now on Bro Bro Bets.
and the stats and the numbers aren't looking great. 13 for 21, 34 in the tub. But it's just the whole aura around Broncos country right now. Everybody is believing in them. They're finding ways to win and playing way more efficient. So it's not as if they're winning or they're losing in fashion of how they started the year off and how they were just looking with the project. We thought that Sean Payton was gonna fold, and I gotta give Sean Payton respect, although I still don't like him all the way as a coach like that because he did some dirty shit in the past, and I think he's a little bit cocky. Respectfully, he is a good head coach. He's proven that now again, once again, even worse. I think this is a way worse project than he had to deal with any of the Saints teams, because at that point too, he was dealing with a Drew Brees in his prime. He's dealing with older Russ and a lot of young players, and that mesh in itself takes a lot of time to develop to produce success. And so I think the numbers aren't, like I said, aren't great. Javonte Williams, 18 for 65. Cortland Sutton, 3 for 61. Where's Jerry Judy? We can't find him. But you know, they're finding a way to win, and their defense looks way better, way night and day better, slowing down the Browns, allowing only 65 yards rushing from Jerome Ford. I told you the Browns will be the Browns. DTR got hurt. I'm sorry about that, but fuck the Browns. I don't like the Browns. I really don't, because they thought they were some shit last week. Now they gonna realize that they're not even gonna get into the playoffs. So
Yeah. Well, you know what, Sean Payton, um, you know, personality aside, the guy is right about a lot of things. He was right about Nathaniel Hackett. You know, I mean, we wrote him off after he got his butt kicked against the Dolphins, 70-30 or whatever that was. But that was early in the season. Now, you know, we talk about this as well. These teams don't have enough preseason football to really be good teams by the time the it starts around. So right now, we really see the capabilities of a team, and not till week 10 because they didn't have enough time to do the preseason stuff. So right now, I think we're really seeing Denver's true colors. And it is this thing where it's just a solid team win. Javonte Williams, their young running back who is supposed to be good, he's getting carries. It doesn't look pretty, but it's really just the game flow and the way that the flow of the game goes. And as long as you're positive on certain plays, and then you can set your offense up to get a few points or a touchdown, and then your defense holds things down and keeps things together. The defense is really really good, and the defense has gotten a lot better these last few weeks as well. And I mean, let Russ cook. It's Broncos country. I mean, they're balling. You know what I mean? Shout out to them, and we gotta just shout out to Russ. You know, he's not turning the ball over. He's winning games. He's managing what he's got to do. He has great balls. Pause. In the end zone, throwing to Cortland Sutton, who's Cortland Sutton is going crazy right now. You were saying last week how good Cortland Sutton is. I mean, he is a baller. Cortland Sutton is going to be looked at as one of those guys in the league, as a top receiver. Pause. But yeah, so
and you need to just
yo, these words are just coming together,
hey,
bro. Like,
that's where you gotta get witty, Hilly. You got
yeah. Oh
gotta,
man, but
think about what you're saying before you say it there, sir.
all right, but Broncos country, man. Let's ride. Shout out to Russ. Shout out to Russ. And yeah, man, this podcast supports that Russ and what he's doing because the media was crushing him at the beginning of the year, and
They were.
there was no love, bro, and it was really corny to me. See, that's really what's corny to me is when everybody hops on a bandwagon of putting someone down. That's really corny to me, and we saw that on Twitter, we saw that on social media, and all the other big, sports channels. Even the NFL was on that bandwagon as well, putting down Russ. We could find the receipts if we got to, but we over here we like Russ. We respect Russ. We respect hard work, and let's ride. That's all we got to do right here before we get into these rapid fire picks.
And there's a lot of teams on the bye this week: Bills, Bears,
Yeah.
Raiders, Giants, and Ravens. That's a lot of teams. 6 teams not playing this week. A lot of less games, but that should be good for picks. So Thursday night, Seahawks at Cowboys. Line opens up at -9, 46.5 over under. I think this is an intriguing game. Real quick, because I got to get rolling in a little bit. I do like the Cowboys to win this. However, I low key want to take the line with the Seahawks because I think they got to keep it close to make it. They got to keep it close because they're on their last leg of their playoff hopes as well. But with no Kenneth Walker, this game could get out of hand. But as well, this is a better defense that the Cowboys are going to be playing rather than what they've seen the last couple games. So I do like this game to stay within, and I'm going to buy a couple points within plus 12.5 points.
Okay. I'm going to say the under 46.5. I think that it's, if I had to pick a side, I'd pick Dallas -9 just because that defense is really solid. And we have seen a few games where Seattle just completely blows it and craps the bed and, can barely put up 3 points. So I just think that, if there's anywhere that I'm going on this, it's going to be the under because, again, I don't see Seattle winning this game by going, shot for shot, throwing, each team throwing for 300 yards. Now, it could be wrong. I mean, this isn't a game I'm very interested or intrigued by for those reasons that I'm not completely confident. But from what I've seen, the only way I can look is a defensive game under 46.5, mainly leaning on the Cowboys there.
Shout out to Deron Bland, by the way. NFL record, 5 touchdowns for pick 6. Never been done. Young man's player.
Yeah. Okay, next up we got the Chargers at New England. The Chargers are favored by 6 points, who just lost to the Baltimore Ravens. New England, they're 2-9. Nothing special, but they will be in New England, and New England always comes to play. What are you thinking?
Chargers got to win. Chargers money line.
Okay, well, Chargers money line for you. Okay, it's going to be raining, 40.5.
Chargers money line.
What's that?
Chargers money line.
Yeah. So it's going to be raining. 40.5 is the over under.
I think the Patriots do run the ball good though, so that's kind of why. But Chargers money line.
Right. Yeah. When I look at this, I'll take the Chargers -6. I think that they have the their offense with Herbert and Allen and Eckler is really just so much better than New England, who's just leaning heavy on Ramondre Stevenson to be the bulk of the carries and to basically be the whole offense. But there's just too many players on the Chargers for me that could really could cover that spread of -6. So that's where I'll go on that. Next up, we got the Cardinals and we got the Steelers. The Cardinals going to Pittsburgh. The line is Pittsburgh -5.5. Over under is 40.5. What are you thinking?
Pittsburgh -5.5.
Okay. You know what? I will.
One of our first games that we may cover probably by a larger margin on the year.
Yeah. Why is that?
Just because our offense has been shit. So any games we probably cover, we probably either barely just won it by a money line. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna cover by the cover today. We're gonna win on Sunday with the cover.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we'll win more than 5.5. Really, to be honest.
I will take the under 40.5 here. I think that Pittsburgh, their defense comes to play, and I think that
Trying to tell you,
both off it. What?
I know something that you don't know.
What's that?
Nah, I don't know nothing. All I think is, bro, like I said, bro, it's all love. You know it with the Cardinals defense. Nobody on Cardinals defense can guard George Pickens. George Pickens gets in the end zone twice Sunday.
Okay. So do you want to share that information about
I just think that
you knowing something that
me knowing how Nick wants to play versus the Steelers, Kyler Murray still coming back off an injury. Our offense now just clicking. We're gonna run the same type of game plan. I think at home George Pickens is gonna have a game, bro. I think George Pickens is gonna have a game.
okay.
We'll rewind the tape 65 minutes in, but I'll use this clip. George Pickens is gonna have a game, Nick. When we come back to the show next week, bro, George Pickens.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with the under 40.5 here. Actually, you know what? I'll take Pittsburgh minus 5.5 with you. I'll go with you on that one. I'll say that their team has just got it more together right now. Next up, we got the Colts at Tennessee. Indianapolis is Indianapolis is favored -1. Over under is 43.5. What are you thinking?
This is the last time I'm gonna do this. Plus Titans 3.5. They don't win. That's the last time I'm doing that.
So you're gonna buy a few
By
points.
a couple. Yep. But Derrick Henry had a good game last week. Derrick Henry had a good game last week, so
okay. I will. Tennessee is just too inconsistent.
Colts are looking good. I'm not disclaiming them. I'm just at Tennessee -1. I don't really like that.
Okay. I think that Tennessee has been too inconsistent. Indianapolis hasn't been crazy consistent either, but I see a little bit, just a little bit more of a spark on the offensive side than with the Colts than the Titans. So I'll take the Titans -1 there. Broncos going to Houston. Line is Houston -3.5. Which is a kind of a tough number with the half, and then over under 47.5. What are you thinking here?
I like the under.
Yeah.
I just think the Broncos has been playing good. CJ Stroud's still trying to battle. He was in the battle last week. I believe that game. We didn't even talk about that game, but that was a very important game that they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That was for the first seed, and I think just what happened with them was D'Amico Ryan's a little bit bad coaching, but a little bit of CJ coming back down to reality, just like Josh Dobbs, making some rookie mistakes. But I think he corrects it this week. I think they do win because they have to understand what they're, where they're at in the fight. And I'm sorry, Russ, let Russ cook. I think this is the first loss they take since the winning streak in a close one, under 47.5. I just like CJ Stroud's playmaking ability a little bit better than Russ right now at home. This was at Denver. I see it the other way.
So I'm going to go with the under here. I think this is also a veteran coach versus a rookie head coach. So I think that with the and the defense on Houston has been pretty good. I think that's just where the focus lies more on this game. I think it's more of a defensive game, and it's 47.5 points. That's a little bit of cushion. It's not really that's not a low, that's not a low number. That's a pretty high number. So I'll take the under as well. Next up, we got Lions going to New Orleans, Detroit at New Orleans with the over under 45.5, with the line being 4. What are you thinking?
Lions get back on the good foot. -4. Lions not fucking with the Saints ever again the rest of this year.
Yeah, I'll take the Lions -4. I think that they kind of got, there's a lot of talk right now about what happened last week. What?
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talk about what happened with Thanksgiving and stuff. So I think that they cover the 4, and the Saints really just we haven't really seen. They're trying to get it together, but they haven't really gotten it together yet. Lions are more of a solidified team to me. So yeah, I'll take that. Next up, we got Atlanta at New York. Um, the line is or the over under is 33.5, and the line is Atlanta -3.
What will be interesting to watch here is how well Tim Boyle plays again. I lost to him in a bet with a completion percentage of over. I took the under 58.1. He had a completion percentage of damn near 70. Now he played well because it was Black Friday. Dolphins, woo woo. I think he takes a step back here. It's not a real game that it doesn't even fucking matter anymore. It's just kind of a hang loose type of Hawaii feeling here, and I like Atlanta. They're fighting for the NFC South right now. They have to have intentions. I like them money line.
Yeah, it's weird because you almost can almost feel a little bit of a like a what do we say a like this could be one of those games. Yeah. It's one of those games where do I trust Atlanta yet? Like, do I trust Atlanta yet to cover spreads? Do I want to bet on Atlanta because they're still a team that's shown some really bad things this year, and the quarterback play has been in question all year as well. They're favored by 3 here. It would almost seem, a week ago this line probably would have been even. But because of how bad the Jets are, it's -3. I'll take the I'll take the under 33.5 for those reasons. Next up, we got Dolphins at Washington. The line is Miami -9.5, over under 50.5.
I'm taking one of the overs. And I don't think that I like the 50 and a half. I think Mike McDaniel's been more way respectable. Even though the Jets put up a little bit better fight because they got a better defense.
Commanders.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
No, the
You're
Jets
talking
got a
about
better
last week.
Jets got a better defense than the Commanders. I like Miami
Yeah.
-1.5. I don't know about the 50 and a half. I just
Yeah.
don't see Mike. And he could because the Commanders could get a couple scores, but I don't see the Dolphins scoring 42. Oh, they could. They could. They could. That's the thing. They could. But I just think they keep it more respectful. They're not trying to get their players injured. We're getting close to that time, that playoff time. So I like Miami -9.5.
I think so much for Washington right now relies on Sam Howell and if he turns the ball over. And he is kind of one of these guys that can turn the ball over a few times a game. Jalen Ramsey is on fire. The defense is balling. I'll take Miami -9.5 as well
Yeah.
for those. Carolina going to Tampa Bay. The line is Tampa Bay -5. Over under is 36.5. What do you think?
Carolina's looking for a head coach, looking for playmakers. Bucks -5, and if they lose, they're some shit.
Yeah, that would tell you a lot. I mean, the Bucks have really let people down already this
If they lose,
midseason.
they're at home playing Carolina to stay to win to be in contentions for the first seed. Because
Yeah,
even at 4-7, they're not out of the first seed. So
you're right. Right. Yep. So I agree with you. I'll take Tampa -5, and Carolina should be ashamed of themselves for how they set up Bryce Young.
yeah.
49ers at Philly. This is going to be fun. Over under is 46.5. The line is -3. San Francisco in Philadelphia. What are you thinking?
No rain suspected as of right now. Um, both
I'll
teams want
tell
to
you.
both teams
I'll
want to
tell
run
you
the
what I'm thinking. What's that?
both teams, both teams want to run the ball. Close game. This is for sure a close game.
I, I can tell you what I'm thinking. I'm
What?
gonna go. I'm gonna go with Philadelphia +3
Yeah.
because
Yes, for sure.
you know you get 3 points. I'll take Philly +3. Maybe they lose by 1 point. I see it being a really close game. You're running the ball also a lot. That could take a lot of time off the board, and just it leaves less time for more touchdowns and more points being scored. So I will take Philly plus the 3. And if I had to lean on the over-under, I'd lean the under.
Perfect.
You agree
No,
with that
3.
one? You want to?
Philly plus 3. Philly plus 3.5.
Gotcha.
Got field goal. Got to get the field goal, man.
Okay, so next up, we got your favorite team, Cleveland Browns, going to the Rams. That was a
Rams.
joke. We got 39.5 is the over-under. The Rams minus 3.5 is the spread. What are you thinking?
Rams.
Rams
Money line.
Okay, Rams money line. Yeah, I'll 39.5. I'll take the Rams.
Like,
what's that?
We don't know who Cleveland's quarterback is. You know what?
Yeah.
Actually, take this back. I like the Rams minus 3.5. I'm not
Right.
running from this. The reason be, Myles Garrett might be out for the year, shoulder injury. He's going to be out. DTR may be back, but he can't keep up with Matthew Stafford. These receivers get back on board. I like the Rams minus 3.5. No Myles Garrett on their defense. That is major for them. It's not only major in production, just major in leadership. So
I will. I like that pick. I like what you said. I'll go with the under 39.5. Again, Browns don't really have an offense besides running the ball, and then the Rams offense is shaky sometimes. And so I'll take the under 39.5. I could see this going as low as 30. The Chiefs at Green Bay. This is an interesting game with how well Green Bay has been playing. This is Sunday night at Green Bay at Lambeau. It's going to be cold. The line is 6.5. Kansas City. I'm sure people are thinking they can. I don't know. 6.5. It's big. It's a big number. Over under is 42.5. What are you thinking?
Gotta think. You go first.
Yeah, the over under being 42.5. They expect this to be a pretty defensive game. With Jordan Love, he did what he did against Detroit. This is a different defense in Kansas City. Kansas City's pretty darn good. I'll take the under 42.5 here. And if I had to lean on the spread, I'd take Kansas City because I don't really I don't go against Kansas City. I can't do it. I just not yet.
I like the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs here, minus 6.5.
Oh, it's gonna be a good game regardless. Okay, next up we got Jackson. Okay, we got the Bengals at Jacksonville. The spread is Jacksonville minus 8, and the over under is 38.5. What are you thinking?
I think that this is gonna be not a game. I like Jacksonville. It's a, it's a crazy spread right there, but I think we learned a lot about Jacksonville's defense in this game. I like the Jaguars. I'd tease this down, but I'd add more points up because Cincinnati can score a couple touchdowns, barring with Jake Browning. So I like the Jaguars like minus 4.5, and I like the over 38.5.
Okay, so I think last week we saw a big game from Trevor Lawrence. He's had 2 weeks in a row big games. This is a game though where I feel like Doug Peterson might try to run the ball a lot against a team like Cincinnati that's having a lot of issues right now without their quarterback. I'm not saying he can do this at will because you can't do this at will. It's the NFL. People are going to compete, but I think the game plan is to run the ball and a little bit more. And I think that it's actually going to go under 38.5 because I think the Jacksonville will shut down the Bengals. The only reason I don't want to take the minus 8 is because it's a big number and a backdoor cover kind of, takes me off of that. That could possibly not happen. So I would take the under 38.5. That's how I'll lean. But yeah, that's our show. Thank you for tuning in, everyone that did. We're gonna, post this. It's gonna be live in about 24 hours, and it should be a good week of football. I'm Parlay Hunter.
Man, I'm like with D Green, man. Always check us out on all the sites, all the websites. You see what's in the back, the tail of the hunt, man. Streaming event now, and the spiritual growth is out as well, man. But no, another week. I'm looking forward to it, man. I shared earlier, parlay. Everyone, keep my family in prayers. things going on off the camera, but I'm still here. I'm still present, man. I'm locked in. I'm excited. Big week. I'm back home, so I can finally just watch the game. And man, we got some crazy ideas coming. Trust me, 2024. I'm telling you, I just
Hey, man.
got my other edition. So my setup, I got my 55-inch TV up there. I got to get it mounted up. Just wait, everybody. Just wait. It's gonna be some crazy shit going on.
Yeah. So appreciate everybody that tunes in, supports the show. And yeah, man, we salute to Dre showing up on the podcast. And it's hard out, you know what I mean? It's like times are tough right now, and things happen. And so sometimes it's not always easy to show up and do these extra curricular activities. But I really appreciate Dre coming on the show, and I hope that we have a great week of football. And this is Bro Bro Media. Follow us on all social medias. I'm Pilot Parlay Hunter. That's Life of D Green. Peace.